What if I told you that millions of rabbits helped stop a desert from growing? Sounds impossible, right?
But in northern China, a place once known as the Sea of Death was slowly transformed into a green landscape using trees, rabbits, and even solar panels. And the most surprising part is that it all started with one man who refused to believe that the desert was unbeatable.
Today, we're traveling to China's Kubuqi Desert, one of the largest deserts in the country. Just a few decades ago, this place was expanding rapidly. Every year, vast areas of farmland disappeared beneath moving sand dunes. Villages were buried, crops failed, and families were forced to leave their homes. The desert seemed unstoppable. The Chinese government tried many different solutions. Trees were planted, wells redug, and large anti-desertification projects were launched. But despite all these efforts, the sand kept moving forward. Then a man named Wang Wenbiao decided to take a different approach. At the time, many people thought he was crazy. He invested his savings, borrowed money, and dedicated his life to fighting the desert. Instead of trying to defeat nature, he wanted to work with it. His first step was simple but effective. Across the desert, workers built small barriers using dried shrubs and vegetation. These barriers slowed the wind and helped prevent the sand from constantly shifting. Once the sand became more stable, millions of willow trees were planted. These weren't ordinary trees. Willow trees have deep root systems that can search for underground water and survive in harsh environments. Slowly, some of the trees began to grow.
But planting trees was only the beginning. The real challenge was maintaining them. Young willow trees produce many soft shoots that need to be trimmed so the main trunk can become stronger. Doing this by hand across such a massive area would require enormous amounts of money and labor.
That's when an unusual solution appeared. Rex rabbits. Millions of them. At first, the idea sounded ridiculous. How could rabbits possibly help save a desert? And that wasn't their only contribution. Rabbit manure turned out to be incredibly valuable. It contains nutrients that desert soil lacks, including nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Over time, the manure improved soil quality and helped create conditions where plants could grow. But Rex rabbits love eating the young shoots of willow trees. As they fed on these shoots, they naturally pruned the trees, helping them grow stronger and healthier. A job that would normally require thousands of workers was suddenly being done by animals. The rabbits also spread seeds. Many grass seeds passed through their digestive systems and returned to the ground with natural fertilizer attached. When rain finally arrived, those seeds had a much better chance of growing. But Wang Wenbiao wasn't finished. He realized that the desert could offer another valuable resource: sunlight. So a massive solar power project was built in the heart of the desert. Nearly 196,000 solar panels were installed in the shape of a giant running horse. The project generated huge amounts of clean electricity, enough to power hundreds of thousands of homes. Yet the solar panels provided another unexpected benefit. They created shade. That shade reduced evaporation, helped retain moisture, and allowed grass to grow underneath. Animals could graze below the panels, while the panels produced electricity above them. For the first time, technology and nature were working together as a single system. Wildlife returned. Birds reappeared. Foxes and other animals began to inhabit areas that had once been completely barren. Of course, rabbits alone didn't save the desert. The success came from a combination of scientific planning, long-term investment, environmental management, renewable energy, and local community involvement. But the story remains remarkable because it shows how small pieces can become part of a much bigger solution. A tree, a rabbit, a solar panel. Individually, they might not seem powerful enough to change a desert. Together, they helped transform one. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson of all. Sometimes the world's biggest problems aren't solved by a single miracle. They're solved when many small solutions work together toward the same goal.